Disciples of Jesus look to the future. Listen to me, vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision is a waste of time, and vision with action can change the whole world. He will speak to you. The question is, are you listening?
I am. Maybe you should just leave it. Welcome to our podcast, Real Strength Podcast. We are talking about relationships in this series, and we really dive into areas to find strength in your life, in your spirit, soul, and body. It's the real you, what makes you live fully alive.
Amen.
Named after PJ's book, which if you haven't read, you should read because it gives a lot of context to this podcast. But I have always with me the wisdom, the host, I guess technically you're the lead of the podcast. I'm the host. Anyways, Jeff Klingenberg and his lovely better half, my mother,
Yes.
Dawn Klingenberg.
Yes, better half.
Here on our podcast today because, in our relationships series, we had one conversation about building friends, having community, boundaries, working through that, and friendships that kind of go with you through the years, how to navigate that. And then we're moving into your most important relationship outside of God, and that is your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Good to have friendship there.
Yes, definitely have to have friendship there. But one of the things about community and that's come up a lot as we've been asking questions is how do married couples have friends? Before we could get to that conversation, we wanted to say, well, how about married couples just being friends with each other and having a strong relationship? So we're going to dive into that conversation today, and I'm excited to see the wisdoms that y'all are going to add to our podcast. Last time, Mom, you were here to share your story of how you and Dad fell in love.
Yes.
So to kick off today's conversation, what is one thing you do to protect your friendship with each other?
We talk. And to you, honey?
Awesome. One word answer.
We talk. 2-word answer.
It is a podcast. Feel free to share more if you have it. Okay, Mom.
We make sure that we set aside time for one another and we guard that time. And so anytime an opportunity comes up, we make sure we check each other's schedule. We have a shared calendar. And another opportunity that's come in that could create conflict for us in this season of life is grandchildren, which we love. And I would say yes to every opportunity. And I've learned that I need to check every opportunity with Pops. And so
I'm Pops.
I always say, I will check with Pops and get back to you. And so that's one way we guard our relationship is that we make sure we're on the same page as far as how we spend our free time and available time is to make sure that we're both agreeable to making commitments and on the same page for that.
So you said spend time together, you said talk. So is your love language being together?
Well, that's an interesting question because we don't know what my love language is.
I know you always claim all of them, but
I like all of them.
is yours words? Is that what, are y'all trying to prefer or protect how you feel loved? Is that what makes this connection stay strong?
Well, I like it when she touches me. I like it when she speaks confirmation and affirmation to me. I like when she does things for me. I like when she buys me presents. And I like when she wants to sit and hold hands and watch crime dramas.
You actually just like it when she scratches your head while you're watching.
He's just
Crime
very
Well, but
needy.
then I fall
That's the other
asleep.
thing.
I'm needy. I'll admit it.
He is
I'm needy. I need love from my best friend.
Dramas. You love-
Yes.
So protecting the friendship, that's what we're getting to, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's a choice, just like marriage is a choice. One of the things I want to interject at the very beginning is our culture tells us that marriage is a feeling, that love is a feeling. That love is a feeling, and that if the feelings are there, then you can or can't marry. So in culture today, it's you need to feel it first, feel the energy, feel the vibe. Did you feel that? I felt that. All feelings, and then to feelings to an experimental time, which usually means cohabitation, which is unbiblical. And then if that goes well enough and the feelings are good enough, then you actually solidify the friendship by getting married. But the biblical pattern is love is a choice and not a feeling. And so you choose to love, just like Christ has chosen to love us. We're unlovable, many scriptures about this. He loves us anyway. So we have chosen to love each other. Very different, lots of things so different. But the key thing we have in common is our love for the Lord and the fact that we desire and try to pursue friendship.
Yeah.
And there's lots of ways we pursue it. I just listed some, but
Yeah.
so it's important. So we've made our choice. Our will has aligned what's going to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Our choice, just like you choose to receive Christ as your Savior, just like you choose to stay away from sin, just like you choose to receive the baptism that Jesus gives into the Holy Spirit and then have a full and alive spiritual life, you choose to love. And that your choice is what makes the friendship good, not feelings. Feelings come and go.
The thing is, there are a lot of people that probably listen to this podcast and live in the bubble of identify as Christian, married, in the same headspace, the same premise, that I still experience a lot of brokenness and still experience a lot of struggle in their marriage. And the idea of, at this point, having a friend in your marriage feels far away because they're just trying to keep the marriage.
Just trying to survive.
Correct.
Yep.
Couple things to think about. I did some research about this podcast, and I learned that dating is on an all-time low. They're calling it a dating drought, and this study was published in 2025, but there hasn't been any changes in trend, that there's a drought in dating, and one of the reasons being listed was young adults' inability to have resilience through the dating process. Because truly dating somebody, there's good dates, there's bad dates. And because resiliency is low, the desire to keep going on dates after you've had a bad date, it's like never going to happen. Did y'all have any bad dates on your way
Sure we
to
did.
getting married?
I'm sure we did. I mean, I had trouble with commitment. So I hurt your mom twice at least with being 3 times. I don't remember how many. With being wishy-washy and inconsistent.
Love
Which we
bears
don't-
all things.
Yeah, we don't have to go into your story because we can just send them back to your story in
Yeah.
the previous
Right.
podcast. But did you have any just bad dates? Dates where you came home and you're like, why am I dating him? Or why am I dating her?
I'm sure we did. Yeah, probably the first round that we dated and then stopped dating and took a year and didn't date and then came back to it later.
That's crazy. I think the possibility in this context of dating coming back to a relationship that failed the first time is super low. What made you say yes to going back out on another date?
We were separated for a season, and I feel like during that season, the Lord worked on both of our hearts to where when we got back together again, we were ready for a relationship and being committed to one another. Changed both of our hearts. Because there's always things that we all have to work on in ourselves. You have to be the right person. We always... we're always looking for Mr. Right or Mrs. Right or whoever that might be. But the truth is you have to be the person, the right person, not look for the right person. So, and that's, I think, where people get mixed up on when they're looking for a spouse. You're looking for that person, but you have to be that person yourself.
Yeah. Well, the reason why dating is on a decline, that's what you just said, statistics and analysis is showing, is because our culture is telling us, all of our media is telling us, if you feel some vibes, then go ahead and go to the deepest expression of friendship, of relationship,
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
and that's sexual union.
Right.
That's supposed to be the icing on the cake, not the
Right.
cake.
Right.
And so they miss so many. I mean, almost every time you watch a movie, a crime drama, anything, it goes from conversation where there's a little feeling vibe to drinks to bed.
Right.
And they miss out on the
Building a relationship.
building the relationship, discovering each other,
Yeah.
spending time, having conversation. I mean, we moved away from family, so we were 12 hours from my family and 14 hours from hers, or 11 and 13, something like that. We had long drives to talk, and so we had lots of times.
While dating?
Yeah.
Yes.
While we were in seminary and not married.
We had lots of time to talk, ask each other questions, find out, your worldview and.
Right.
But even for people who don't rush into intimacy, who just go on a bad date, their likelihood of going back out on that date, trusting that person, believing for something else, a different outcome, is very low. Brandon's not here, so I'm going to throw him under a bus. But we definitely had some moments in our early dating where I was asking myself, should we even be going out? Is this even going to work out? But what kept me in this space of wanting to date him was what I believe the Lord told me about him and how the Lord had positioned my heart to
Correct.
be on this adventure with him. And I kind of went into it with whether or not this works out till marriage, I do know the Lord has opened this door intentionally. So whenever the bad, date moments would happen, which again, he's probably going to watch this and be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
They're all amazing dates. They were amazing dates. We got to marriage. I think for me, what settled me is really trusting the Lord more than I did the person I was dating.
Correct.
What kept you guys dating as you had your ups and downs? Because I know you did. You've told me stories. You probably can't think of any right now, but of good dates, bad dates, great moments, bad moments. What kept you guys anchored to dating each other?
Think on that for a second. So, bad date. Have you had a bad game if you're an athlete? Yes. Have you had a bad work experience? Yes. Have you had bad friendships? Yes. Have you had a bad workout? Yes. Have you had a bad cold? Yes. Have you had bad allergies? Yes. Have you had a bad accident driving? Yes. Have you had, an accident where you broke a bone or something? So
That's a really good point.
the whole cancel culture thing that started, recently,
Yeah.
it's such a lie
Yeah.
that you're going to be able to cancel them and then find somebody that you'll never have to cancel. It's just a lie.
Yeah.
And so what happens is brokenness just keeps extenuating, just brokenness after brokenness after brokenness after brokenness, and it's not the way the Lord wants it to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, now the question.
Well, I mean, for us as believers, you get a word from the Lord and you stand on the word the Lord gives you. Circumstances are going to change. Things are going to come into your life that cause you to doubt, but you always go back to the word the Lord gives you and stand on that. There's no perfect people. None of us are perfect. We're all going to mess up.
Yeah.
But you hear from the Lord and you move forward on that.
Yeah.
So that's what you always go back to.
Yeah. You should be able to date differently as a Christian. I agree.
Right.
Ultimately, think about this in biblical times and in many cultures in our world today where people don't even meet each other until
Right.
they're married.
Right.
It happened in the Bible as well.
Right.
And they ended up having a great relationship.
Right.
And so, anyway, matter of fact, I think the stats show that arranged marriages have a lower divorce rate than.
Right.
You know, I
Then-
didn't look into that and all this little
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, going back to what you said, love is a choice. And if you're talking about dating and being friends and all that in marriage, you prefer your mate. And Philippians talks about preferring one another better than yourself. And a lot of couples, they have a balance sheet. Like my husband has these hobbies, and so I'm going to let him do this hobby as long as he lets me do this. And so you've got this balance sheet going, and that's not how marriage works. We don't keep score sheets.
Yeah.
And so if we're for one another, then I'm not keeping track of how many times Jeff gets to go work out versus how many times I get to go have lunch with friends or whatever it might be. We're
Yeah.
for one another. And so I don't keep a balance sheet on how many times he gets to do what he wants to do versus how many times I get to do what I want to do. But I've heard in my Wisdom for Moms group, I hear them talking about that. Like, oh, well, he got to go do this, so you better guess he's better let me go do this with my friends. You're like, that's not how it works. We
Yeah.
don't do that. Love
Yeah.
doesn't keep an account. We don't keep score.
Yeah.
We are for one another. We're in this together. And so that in this together mindset is what keeps the relationship healthy and keeps it strong, because I prefer him and he prefers me.
Yeah. Because you have to keep that. Basically, what pattern you set in going into dating can help set you up for success in marriage. It doesn't always, but it can if you date well. Let's say you don't date well, but you are supposed to be together, you get married. Now you're in a marriage and you're still trying to date your spouse. What tips do you have for couples who struggle with being able to date their spouse? Because even spouses have bad dates. Bad dates because maybe the sitter calls and there's an issue with the kids and it cuts the date short, or maybe there's an unresolved conflict that comes up on the date, and now all of a sudden they're both in a bad mood and they're married and they're supposed to be having fun, date your mate, but now there's tension. How do you date your mate and keep that friendship and that fun and that part of your life strong?
Good communication, setting the expectations for the date. There's all kinds of things you can do for dates. What are you going to do on the date? Who's going to plan the date? Are you going to take turns planning the date? Is it going to be a meal out? Is it going to be an adventure? Is it going to be, what is the purpose of it? Which that will help a whole lot to define what is the date going to be. And that's a whole nother thing. We know someone who they go out on a date once a month to kind of take the temperature of the relationship and talk about, are we meeting our expectations? Have we reached our goals that we've been setting? So that's like one date. Another one is just to go out and have fun. Let's pick something we both love to do and let's just go do it. Let's go axe throwing, or let's go bowling, or let's go do something, that we both enjoy, whatever it might be. But one thing I find whenever we were a young married couple with young children, we had to tell each other we're not going to talk about our kids while we're on our date. So we would try to come up with things to talk about that didn't have anything to do with our kids, because.
And that was hard after you came along.
I was going to say, I'm sure I made that really difficult.
We had a lot to talk about
so many
you, baby.
amazing things to talk about their number 4.
Right, because your kids can't become your life.
Yeah.
You still have each other. Your kids are going to grow up and grow on and go on with their life, but we're still married, and we still have a life together outside of our children.
Let me ask you. Oh, you got an answer?
Well, we determined that the foundation of our friendship was going to be connected to the Lord. So 3-strand cord is not easily broken. That's in Ecclesiastes. Well, the 3 strands that we agreed before we got married is I'm a strand, she's a strand, but the center strand is Jesus. Mm-hmm. And so, not to make it hokey and unreachable for our listening audience, but there is an element that changes when you choose to connect to the Lord first, to have a spiritual life first, to keep a spiritual life going after you're married or after you're dating. Because too many people, they put all their energy into the dating relationship, and their energy for the relationship with the Lord dies off.
Yeah.
And that's not good for what happens after the friendship becomes a covenant or
Yes,
becomes marriage.
Right.
And so we just kept ours going, and we've always had as a part of our friendship sharing what the Lord's speaking to us, sharing dreams, sharing worship songs, biblical insights, etc. Mm-hmm. And so that has kept our foundation in our friendship good and strong.
Yeah. What would you guys do? Not what would you say. What would you personally do if you were on a date with each other and something happened that was making the date go south? How would you recover? And I know you've been on different dates where you've had to maybe do this. Recover it, whether it was a health moment, a conflict moment, a social moment, run into somebody you weren't expecting to, something to that effect that throws off the date.
Well, I mean, so we're about to celebrate 42 years of marriage. So at the point we're at, it's not as catastrophic as it was earlier in marriage to try to recover because of just being together for so long and knowing each other as well as we do, to be able to say, hey, what just happened? Or can we back up a minute and see, did I just say something? Did I just do something? And so we can immediately get it back. Earlier in marriage, it probably wasn't as easy to do. I'm not a great communicator. He's a great communicator. He would 100% agree with that, right?
We've captured it.
Yes.
It's recorded.
We all know that. So he has a lot of words. I don't have as many words. I tend to shut down.
You have a lot of words when you're on the phone.
I tend to shut down. He tends to talk a lot. So, we're very opposite in many, many ways. So how do we recover now? We just communicate better now than we did earlier in life.
What would you say?
The way your mom recovers is she runs into a cave to internally process.
Yes.
The way I recover is I want to discover in the moment what happened. And so I want to try to talk it through.
Right.
So what wins?
She always wins.
I feel like this question is not getting us any wisdoms
If
of how to help people.
if she doesn't win, I lose.
Here's the wisdom. Figure out how you process. I'm an internal processor. He's an external processor. So my internal processor can say, I need a few minutes to process that before I say anything. Yeah.
But what I've
Because you're afraid
learned,
to react in emotion.
Right, because I would react and it would be the wrong reaction.
I got you.
Yeah.
but I have to come back because sometimes she'll internally process, and it stops internally. It never makes it out so that I know what happened.
Yeah.
And so I have to go back and pull that out.
And
See,
you
I'm-
need to know so you can learn and grow together, right?
Yeah,
Right.
and I'm great at interpersonal
You are
interactions
great,
and
babe. You're
things,
so great.
I know, I learned that from you.
Yeah.
Brandon and you can talk about how great y'all are at that. Okay, so going forward in this conversation, there are lots of marriages that struggle to maintain connection, and there's a trend in divorce, and the separation of marriage is happening. And so I wanted to ask the question, what is the leading cause of separation? What's breaking down marriages in this context? And so, according to the research that I found, in 2026, there has been a steady decade where the top answer has remained a lack of commitment is what causes people to choose divorce. And the way they categorize that lack of commitment is a few different categories. One is one spouse stops trying to resolve conflict. That's considered lack of commitment. The other is future planning disappears. That's considered lack of commitment. Emotional investment declines by one or both. One partner checks out while the other partner overcompensates. Those are all different categories that people have put into this umbrella of lack of commitment. How would you speak to spouses who feel like they can relate to one or all of those in their marriage?
Stop it.
Mom,
Thank you, Bob Newhart.
mom, any wisdom? I think one spouse stops trying to resolve conflict is interesting to me, because you just said that you retreat into your cave and you try to seek
Keep
her
her
out.
from running into the cave.
How do you view that as her not stopping to resolve conflict? How do you view that as still a partnership? How do you partner with each other in your different weaknesses?
Well, that's why we had to learn how we process, because I can say to him now, I need a few minutes to process. I'm going to go wash the dishes, and then I'll come back and we can talk about it. Whereas before I realized I'm an internal processor, it looked like I just walked away from it, which would frustrate him because they thought I was just walking away. But for me, I needed time, but I didn't realize why I needed time. But now he understands that I'm going to go wash the dishes, but I'm coming back and we'll finish this conversation after I process it.
So it's
Whereas
just
before,
self-awareness
he would
growth.
just be like, oh, she's going to go vacuum the house, or she's going to go fold the clothes, or whatever.
Yeah. So early on, I discovered that a conflict about once a week was good because the dishes would get done, the beds would get made, the house would get cleaned.
That is wild,
And so mean.
but not inaccurate. I'm the same way. Whenever we have a conflict that isn't resolved, I'm like, I'm going to go make myself productive.
Yes.
Can't fix this problem, I'll fix my house.
There you go.
But you don't view that as her not participating in conflict, because your self-awareness, you're saying, I know that I need to pull away. So you're
Right.
still engaged. You just can't engage the same way that you engage in
Right.
conflict.
Correct.
Correct.
And that's a lot of times why couples end up together, is because opposites attract.
Right.
You recognize deep within you, whether you're aware of it on the frontal part of your brain, that you're half of what's needed,
Yeah.
and they're going to be different than you, but that's needed for you.
Yeah.
If you can just stay in that place where you recognize that that's a work of the grace of God,
Yeah.
then it'll keep you from getting to the place where you're thinking about the fact that there's no energy being put in by one or both parties.
Yeah.
What all reasons did you give? There's distraction. I heard him kind of like this. Not a
Future
desire to work.
planning disappears, emotional investment declines, one partner checks out while the other one overcompensates.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it takes two people. Marriage takes two people.
Mm-hmm.
Marriage is made or broken by two people.
yeah.
One person can't carry it.
Yeah.
And we've worked with marriages in our pastoral history where one didn't want to work on it anymore.
Right.
And the funny thing is, I have two come to mind. Maybe I just thought of a third. So they determine that they're going to be better off working on it with someone else. And then the time frame in the second relationship, most of the time not married, some marry, that's shorter than what it was in the first relationship, because they learned how to avoid, to run, to not work on it, to not commit emotionally. And so then they just go relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, they look like middle school kids.
Right.
Just bouncing week to week from person to person on who they're talking to.
So if couples hear this list and they're like, "Oh no, that's us. We have those problems." Would you say the best place to start? I mean, obviously some people need professional help. That's a number one thing. And it's not bad to get counseling.
Sure.
It's protecting your marriage. It's fighting for something you believe in. But would you say
So long as it's biblical counseling,
Right.
or you mean Christ-centered?
Christ-centered counseling.
Sometimes the best, as we've discovered in the growth of counseling, sometimes the best counseling is being offered by not necessarily a Christian biblical counselor, but by a Christian who is professional in counseling marriages and works for a generic counseling group, but that they're willing to use every professional tactic possible to help find resolution. Does that make sense? But they're doing it they are Christ followers as their stance.
Yeah,
So
well-
biblical counseling is kind of getting a bad rap because they don't always include every element to work through and process through and do the harder, work.
Yeah. Well, for example, biblical counseling is not godly counseling if it takes a passage of Scripture and twists it to try to create something that will then end up getting worse than what was going on. As an example, biblical separation doesn't exist. It's just not there. You can't find an example where God spoke and gave a couple permission to separate from each other, thinking that things would get better. They don't get better. It's not good for a man to be alone. As soon as a man is alone, trouble's coming to him. And so, but biblical counselors are taking passages like the one about fasting to abstain from sexual activity for a season for the purpose of fasting and prayer, and then they stop right there and don't finish the verse or finish the thought, and be sure to come together again lest you're tempted by Satan and defeated. So biblical counselors can give unbiblical and ungodly advice.
Right.
Best thing to do when you're having to work through something is to keep on working.
Right.
You don't stop when you're walking through the valley of shadow of death,
Right.
or you die. When you're walking through the valley of shadows, as we learned in Israel, or the valley of the shadow of death, you don't stop, you keep on going.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to have to work on it with somebody anyway.
Yeah.
And person number 2 might be harder to work with than person number 1. And so...
So if there's no biblical reason for separation, is it unbiblical to be divorced?
Is it unbiblical? No, there's three areas of permission in the Scripture for divorce.
So when you say it's not biblical to be divorced, you mean it's never God's desire for divorce?
God doesn't.
No,
God
he
hates
said
divorce.
separation.
Yeah, I was talking about separating.
Oh, separation.
What was it?
When you said that, I assumed you meant divorce. You
No, I
mean
didn't. No, I
separation within
You
a
meant
marriage.
separation.
Gotcha.
Because a lot of counselors will say, y'all need to separate for a season.
I
You work
gotcha.
on you and you work on you.
I got
But
you.
he's saying you're not finding that in the Word.
I'm glad
Which-
you said that because I did not put that together.
Yeah.
Which is true. You do need to work on you.
Yeah.
But when you separate from the one you're in covenant with to go work on you, what's the focus?
You.
Self.
Yeah.
Got you.
And focus on self never makes for a healthy marriage.
Right.
Because you focus on the Lord and on the other, on your partner, and there, in blessing the Lord and blessing your partner, you get blessed.
Right.
So, is there a reason to be divorced?
Mm-hmm.
And what are those reasons?
Abandonment, abuse, adultery.
Should someone who's experiencing those always choose divorce?
No,
Don't have to.
no, you always choose to not divorce if at all possible.
Gotcha.
Now, in abandonment situations where they're gone, they're not coming back. I'm trying to think if I know of anyone that just waited for years. I can't think of an example. Abandonment always goes to divorce. But abuse, so as we're sitting here today by the laws of the state of Texas and just by common sense and by the Word of God, I would never encourage anyone watching or listening to this podcast, if you're being physically abused, to stay in that situation.
Right.
Don't. We'll report it.
And verbally?
We're mandatory reporters by law. We're mandatory. You have to expose abuse.
And verbally, right? Physical and verbal abuse.
Yes, but verbal. Yes,
And what's your hesitation on verbal?
because some people take verbal abuse as a wrong tone in asking a question. And men don't think about tone that often. We just want to have an answer to our question. And so if that becomes abuse, if anything you don't like becomes abuse and gives you an excuse to get out, then you're in the flesh and not in the spirit.
I got you. So it's just a harder line. But there is a line.
Yeah. But the fact is, even when Jesus was talking about adultery, he said it's better for you, my paraphrase, to work it out. Because if you take your exemption clause out of the marriage because of adultery, then the warning that he gives is going to make it easier for your heart to be hard. And so, is there pain? Yeah, there's pain either way. If someone commits adultery, breaks the covenant, the marital covenant, by joining with someone else in sexual activity, yeah, the pain of that is great. But it's easier, I think, to have a blessed life when you get back with that person, work it through, get God in, get it healed, and make it work and make it go, than it is to not. Then you have an unresolved issue that the Lord didn't have an opportunity to work on to help heal. So is adultery painful? Yes, it is. Same with Same with abandonment. Same with abuse. It's painful. Same with being in a marriage where one spouse or the other, generally the man, but statistics are changing, loves adultery online with someone he's never met. Pornography. Still painful.
Yeah.
Still
So you-
not right.
You consider partaking in pornography as adultery in
Yes.
a marriage?
Yes. Jesus was really clear on that.
As man thinks in his heart, so is he.
So how would couples who are, I mean, if we're going to dive into that, that's actually the second. So the first is lack of commitment, which we've just been unpacking, all the ways that that manifests itself. And I would just, before we move past that, the future planning part, does that need to always rely in the hands of the husband? Or can the woman, the wife, bring future planning back if it's disappeared?
You both do it.
Yeah.
So what changed with us is when kids came along, I kept trying to lead and plan, but I didn't know and have all the details because I wasn't there all the time. Your mom did. So I had to learn how to flip my thinking in empowering her on decisions for us and for our tribe because she had the inside track and I didn't. So I would finalize the decision, but she took the lead on all the decisions regarding family.
And did that happen between the protection of the two of you, so that when you came in front of the family, there was a either unified front and a voice of you leading the family, even though it was a joint decision?
Well, you can answer that question. What did you think?
I always felt like there was a partnership. I don't remember y'all having a lot of conversations about the future that y'all were discussing, like planning out and working through in front of us. I can't think of any. I also don't remember y'all really ever fighting in front of us.
We didn't.
So is this something y'all protected your marriage and did apart from your kids?
I guess we must have.
Do you remember?
Well, we knew that you all weren't mature enough to see us process together because
Okay.
you would interpret, you could interpret that as being a conflict or a fight when it wasn't. Processing's not a fight,
Right.
and actually, we don't like fighting. We it's not that we avoid conflict, but they're different. To me, fighting gets in the flesh, and there's even lots of Christian authors writing Christian books how to have a good fight. And I'm thinking the word fight. I can't go there. I don't want to hurt her. She's given to me by God to love, not to hurt. Mm-hmm. And so working out difficulties and having conversations to get in unity so you can row together and not keep rowing in circles. Mm-hmm. That's not a fight. But some people, they get comfortable with those emotional outbursts.
Right.
And I don't know how those wounds are not used by and empowered by the forces of darkness to try to harm the marriage.
Well, there's difference. You're trying to say there's a difference between conflict and fighting.
Right.
Yes.
I agree with you. I think conflict is really healthy and very necessary in a marriage. And really in any close relationship, you should have good conflict, healthy conflict. But you're coming from someone who had experienced a lot of healthy conflict and studied communication and the fruit and the benefits of conflict. She likened it to like a tornado. If you're having lots of little conflict, like the funnel down in the tornado, that's the healthiest place to be. It's the strongest place. The tornado is right when it's all happening. It's lots of close, connected, little conflict. So the dangerous conflict is when you get to the top and the big, huge gaps between fights happen and they're explosive and far apart. That's unhealthy conflict. And I liked that image because it's true, y'all are opposites. Like, nothing about y'all is really that much alike, except for the fact that y'all have 5 kids together.
Well, we have a lot in common.
I mean, with the Lord, yes, I get it. But
Music.
lots of, yes, music. Mm-hmm. Because you're in a jazz band? Or...
Surprised that didn't come up again this trip. Anyway, let's get back on point.
Well, you brought up music.
Well, it is one of our common areas.
Well, how do y'all share music? Mom plays and sings, and you love it?
Mm-hmm. And
Oh,
I
okay.
harmonize.
Yeah. Do you want to display some of that talent right
No,
now?
we don't.
Well, oh, Buddha was a man.
That was you and the cleric.
I know, but you could.
No.
You
I
could
knew
sing
he
in harmony.
couldn't resist. I knew he couldn't resist. As soon as you said music, I was like, he wants to sing. Used to be the singing pastor. Anyway.
Until
so
you
I,
kids go like this every time I'd start singing. I just put my hands over my face if you're not watching.
when you'd sing in
So
every
I don't
service,
sing nearly as much.
I
Wait.
liked the singing.
Yeah, you missed it at the dinner table the other night when Eric and your dad replayed that moment.
No, I was there.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Okay.
I instigated it with Brandon
Okay.
because I needed him to experience their ability to so confidently not harmonize. I love it. It's the confidence that really it sells everything. It's confidence is key.
You know,
If I
it-
get nothing else out of this podcast, confidence is key.
At Jordan and Carl's wedding the other night when Carl started singing,
know.
Jordan came in, Dudley never goes, I wanted to do that at our wedding, you know? I was like, I know.
And you're like, and you weren't allowed
Your mom
to.
nixed everything that I wanted to do at our wedding. Except I didn't tell her about carrying her out, so she couldn't nix it. Because I knew if I would have said, hey, honey, I just want you to be alerted that I'm going to pick you up, scoop you up, and carry you out of the sanctuary after we say I do. I knew she'd go, no, I don't want that. That'll embarrass me. So I didn't tell her.
Yeah, I know. And what's she going to fight you with all 100 pounds of her tiny little body in your powerlifting years? What's she going to do?
Yeah, I had,
Well,
I
ain't
had
gonna
a-
happen.
Mom's grabbing her hat, holding her dress. That's the famous
I-
shot.
I had big glutes in those days. Never have to buy a size
Okay,
larger.
moving along.
Also, can we comment on the fact that you wore a hat on your wedding day
Oh,
and you will
stop.
not wear a hat now?
That is hilarious. That came up
Anyway.
again.
Anyway, back to this. So I think conflict is healthy. I totally agree with that. I think emotional outbursts are not healthy, but I think emotional intimacy is healthy. And I think the difference, Young, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the difference is submitted to the spirit versus reacting in emotion.
Right.
Submitted to the spirit, the conversation sounds like, hey, emotionally, this is kind of where I'm at, and this is how those responses make me feel.
Right.
And it's not accusatory, it's not fault finding. It's just like this is a state of being for me emotionally, given the conflict that we're having, and that helps your partner know where you really are. It's a form of intimacy.
Sure.
But I think just exploding actually hurts intimacy
Yes.
because then you're basically saying, I don't care if I hurt you, you have to feel the force of my emotion, and that's not led by the Spirit.
No.
Sure.
So when you have a desire to hurt the one God's given you to love and God's given you to be in covenant with, something's not right. Something's wrong.
If they have that desire,
If you have a desire, if you'll feel better after hurting your spouse in a fight, something is wrong with you.
what should they do?
With the desire to hurt your spouse and feel good about it,
Yeah, maybe they're listening like, man, I kind of resonate with that. What should they do?
kind of resonate with enjoying hurting your spouse in order to make yourself feel better.
Yeah,
You should learn how to make yourself feel better in blessing and helping your spouse.
maybe get a mentor too. Talk through that with somebody who's wiser. Say,
Maybe.
hey,
I mean,
Sure.
we're going big on try to help marriages
Marriage
at High
mentoring.
Ridge. So marriage mentoring is huge right now. And a lot of people are finding purpose. So not to divert, but know God, find freedom, discover purpose is
Yeah.
so key.
Yep.
And the number of people that are finding their purpose and helping other marriages stay strong, that's exciting to me.
Yeah.
Well, the truth is, a lot of us come from backgrounds that are not healthy. And so we think we're doing it right and we're not happy in what we're doing, but we don't know why we're not happy. It's because we're trying to do what we were brought up in, not realizing it's not the right way. But the right way is God's way. So
Yeah.
how do we change the way we were brought up in by being mentored by a couple who knows how to do it God's way?
Yeah.
And so that's always a good thing. Anytime you work on something to do it better, to do it God's way, is always good.
Yeah. And I think, too, with mentorship, maybe they don't realize that they have a heart to hurt because they're so blinded by making sure that they're seen and heard and felt and all these things. But a mentor can, in wisdom, say, you're getting too much satisfaction out of winning
right.
in that. And you're, in a way, excited or feel settled that you've won and it's hurting them. And that's a
Right.
bad thing. And a mentor, if you bring someone in who has wisdom in a marriage, can speak to it even if you're too blinded to see it. 'Cause most people, I don't think, go into a fight being like, I don't want to hurt you. I think they're blinded by something else.
Sure.
At the end of the day, they feel satisfied and they caused hurt.
Yep.
And that those two can't live together
Right.
in a healthy way.
Right.
So you got to determine, what do you want? Do you want to be right, or do you want to have a right relationship? If you want to be right, then you're going to constantly be trying to push them down so that you can be lifted up. And that's not, Jesus didn't do that. He lifted
Right.
us up.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're supposed to be like Christ. And yeah, so we choose to have a right relationship, not to try to be right. And even if I think I'm wrong, a lot of times I'll still I'll still see just because I want to keep the relationship strong.
You mean think you're right or think she's wrong?
Well, when I recognize if I'm 51% right, and she's 49% right, is it really worth it for me to push until I convince her that I'm more right than she is? It's not worth it.
And that's why I like that phrase. You might be right.
You might be right partially. Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to our podcast talking about marriage with our guest, my mom, Pastor Dawn. She did a great job just diving into all those deeper topics that really are important for a healthy and strong marriage. We didn't want to cut off that conversation just because there's so much life in each story that we tell and each piece that we discuss. So we broke this one up into 2 episodes as well. This has been part 1 and part 2 is coming out so soon. I don't want you to miss it, so make sure you have your notifications turned on. As soon as it drops, you'll be able to listen. Thank you so much.